We have our correspondent awaiting us in a studio in Algiers to talk about the situation. She is Lamia Achouche. Lamia, good evening to you. Tell us more about how this news was broken in Algeria. How did people get to know?
Well, the news was broken merely an hour ago, and I wouldn't say people were surprised, but although we were expecting the announcement of the resignation any time now, we were definitely taken aback by the raw emotion of this is what we've been asking for the past 6 weeks. This is what the people have been protesting about the past 6 weeks, and now we've got, the main demand of the protesters has been given or answered. But so the initial response was one of euphoria, one of extreme overjoy, happiness, a sense of triumph, a sense of victory. But also people are also aware that this is only the beginning. This is not even near the end of the revolution. This is the beginning of the real struggle, which is to get rid of the regime around the president, and not only him as a person, because we all know that he wasn't the one calling the shots, because he's been too sick anyway to do so.
I was about to ask, he's been very ill. He is very ill. Is there any sympathy for Bouteflika, the man?
I think in retrospect, yes. Yes, people are angry with him. Yes, people want him to go. Yes, people, are fed up with his 20-year rule. But, Algerians are really emotional. Algerians are really nice people. And I think that although he's done a lot of harm to the country, a lot of good and a lot of harm, it depends on which side of the spectrum you're talking to. But I think that people are sympathetic in a sense that they know that he wasn't the one calling the shots. They know that he probably wasn't even the one that decided to run for a fifth term. And so lots of people have been hearing since the beginning of the revolution. They were saying that, look, he is a victim like us. He does not know what's happening around him. Of course, these are all theories, but what's sure is that Algerians know better than to be revengeful, or then to hate a sick person, an elderly sick person, regardless of what he did for the country. So I think there's some sympathy, more or less, towards Bouteflika the man.
Lamia, did the protesters believe this would happen, that what they called for would actually come true?
I think at the beginning it was a far-fetched demand, just because Algerians know how much of a stronghold this regime has on the country since 1962, since the independence. And so I think people got to the streets wanting a change, but really not really expecting it to be one this fast. Let's not forget that it's only been 6 weeks. So this is historic. The Algerian people are taking down one of the strongest regimes in the world in 6 weeks peacefully. So I think, no, we weren't expecting it, but again, we believed in ourselves, and at the end of the day, when millions of people unite together peacefully, with no violence, with no destruction to the country, I think it's just a matter of time when their demands are met.
Lamia, you said it's 6 weeks that shook and changed Algeria, and it is a remarkable street movement which got great momentum and clearly has got the result that people wanted. But also, Lamia, we've spoken to many people over this 6-week period, and one theme has come back every time, is that how can you guarantee what happens next, and how can you guarantee you'll get something that you will like, you'll be happy with?
Well, I think there is really no guarantee, and this is where the game is played now. Yes, the president has stepped down. What will happen next? I think nobody really knows. We know that the army has played a pivotal role in Bouteflika stepping down, because merely hours before the resignation announcement, the army chief Ahmed Saleh has literally gave him a warning, said, listen, you need to step down, you need to meet the demands of the people. And then an hour later the resignation was handed. And so the army played a very important role in making sure that the demands of the people are met. Now the question is, what role will the army play in the next phase, which is the most important thing? I don't pretend to have the answer to that. Neither does anybody in Algeria right now. I don't think anybody is thinking about that because, as I said before, we're still caught up in the euphoria of the triumph. But I think only time will tell what the next phase will bring. But what we do know is that the army stands with the people, and what we hope to happen is that the army oversees or makes sure that a transitional government is put in place to really translate the demands of the people into fair elections that would give way to new voices for the Algerian people.
Transitional government to translate the demands of the people. I've noted now what you said, Lamia. Important words. Do you fear the possibility of something happening like, say, has happened in Egypt with eventually an army man taking control?
Well, again, this been something that has been brought up recently, that we don't want another Egypt in Algeria. Look what happened in Egypt. I think that we are drawing lessons from our other countries' mistakes, and this is certainly what we've done in the past 6 weeks. We didn't have another Arab Spring between brackets, or as I like to call it, Arab Winter. We were too smart to dodge that, and I think as we were too smart to dodge that, we will also be too smart to have another scenario like Egypt. So I don't think so. But as I said before, I'm not really going to give a premature analysis. I think that the army knows better. The army is liked in Algeria. The army is really pretty much beloved in the country. People love the army. People trust the army. And so if things go well, it will play the role that it should play, which is just making sure the country is safe. Because let's not forget, Algeria is geographically, its placement is really, sensitive, because, we have Libya, we have Mali, we have, hot places in our borders. And so we need to make sure that these people or infiltrators or even terrorists do not take advantage of the situation, the political situation in Algeria, to infiltrate and cause chaos. And so the army has a very, very important role. I hope it sticks to that. I hope it focuses on that, all the while making sure that the people's demands are, as I said before, met.
Lamia Achouche, thank you very much for joining us. Journalist and activist there joining us from Algiers. Lamia Achouche, thank you very much indeed.